Are we next in line for extinction? There are more than 8.2 billion people in the world and that number is still rising. In that kind of scenario, you wouldn't expect us, the population, to be threatened with extinction, right? Well, the truth lies somewhere in between. It's estimated that around 2090 there will be about 10.3 billion people, and from this point onward it will start to decline. This projection is possible thanks to growing population of Africa and some Asian countries, India, China, I'm looking at you, but at the same time many more developed countries will start to lose people. This process has already started and you may not even know about this. We have this thing called TFR, which is total fertility rate. It tells us the average number of children born per woman over her lifetime. If some country has TFR equal to 2.1, that's okay, that's replacement level, so over the course of years, population should stay roughly the same number. If more than 2.1, it will grow, and on the contrary, if less, then it will decrease. Globally, it's slightly above replacement level, 2.2, but even now, many more developed countries has TFR below the safe level. Few examples: US 1.6, UK 1.5, South Korea, which is by the way one of the lowest scores in the world right now, 0.8, France 1.6, Poland 1.1, and in that case, last time the TFR was at replacement level in 1988 and it's been on decline ever since. It means that simply not enough people are being born. Because of the scale and pace of this phenomenon, the issue is not easily visible, but I can assure you that's alarming matter, and the moment it will be apparent, it will be too late. Obviously, in some countries the population could be on the rise even with low TFR level, thanks to, for example, immigrants who decide to settle and start a family. So, like I said, the issue could be hidden. But what's causing this change? And why it mainly affects advanced countries? Career focus. In 21st century, thanks to the internet, which connects people all around the world, we have more and more possibilities to pursue something better for ourselves. We do not need to limit our options or choices to what we have around us. With the idea in our heads that we can actually reach for something that would be inaccessible otherwise, our ambitions tend to rise and we like to follow them. Obviously, success requires sacrifices, some of them being relationships, spending time purely on work, or exactly, family. If you're a man, having children won't interfere with your career that much, but if you want to become a mother, 9 months of absence is a big obstacle. Some companies don't want to hire women in case they decide to have children. What's even worse, some moms will be laid off after maternity leave. For example, 74,000 women in the UK lose their jobs every year due to pregnancy or maternity leave. As you can see, we have to decide what we really want, family or career. Unfortunately, those two seem to be on the opposite sides. Survival. This is kind of an emotional point in this video. We simply don't feel a need for having a lot of offspring. We are the healthiest generation yet to exist, even with pandemic, obesity problems, etc. We still have good life expectancy and low infant mortality rate. In the last 3 decades, we have achieved so much in terms of medicine, which resulted with, for example, the global under 5 mortality rate declined by 61% from 94 deaths per 1,000 live births in 1990 to 37 in 2023. If you go back in time, people across ages had to have a lot of children because they knew that most of them will not live to see adulthood, and this goes hand in hand with the need of workforce. Hundreds of years ago, when most of the people were simple farmers or hunter-gatherers, they needed hands to take care of all the crops or to catch a prey, so it was in their interest to have a big family. Nowadays, those things do not bother us anymore, living in advanced countries with good medical sectors and easy and simple way of getting food. You can imagine how surprised I was during my trip to Egypt when our tour guide said that many families decide to have a lot of children because they will be needed in the future to help sustain them. After hearing this, I indeed started to notice a lot of young boys selling stuff to visitors in places like Karnak. And now, with knowledge about the state of that country and the fact that nation of pharaohs has TFR at 2.7, it's not that surprising anymore. But still, this is pretty low, especially compared to other African countries. Rising cost of living. It is terribly discouraging how the price of everything is rising. Housing, commuting, education, childcare, and even groceries in some parts of the world, even in robust economies. In US, housing itself has risen up about 40 to 45% since 2020. Raising a child is not an easy task, especially when you have to worry about everything else, trying to make ends meet. But you don't want your child to live a happy life. You want them to have full stomach, good clothes, show them world a little bit, go on trips, and have fun. People started simply calculating, and most of us got to the result that it would be just unreasonable and irresponsible to welcome a child to the world where you cannot take care of them. Freedom. Obviously, raising children is hard, and like we have determined, it requires certain sacrifices. Not everybody is ready to live a cozy lifetime, to exchange parties for diapers, spontaneous trips for sleepless nights, at least for some time. Of course, it would be untrue to say that there are no good things in being a parent, don't get me wrong, there are a ton, but nowadays people prefer freedom over satisfaction from raising a child. One day you have whole life in London, but one decision and 1 week into the future and you're renting an apartment in Tokyo. Being obligated to absolutely no one, you live freely with almost no need to plan your future, solving problems when they arise without anticipating nothing. We can also refer to the previous point, rising cost of living. With limited resources, you can use leftovers as you wish instead of deciding which is more important, going to the cinema or a new bottle for a newborn. And I can assure you, there are parents who will think twice before making the decision. One day it can obviously change. What I noticed some time ago is that many people, when they get into late 30s, some chemicals starts to work differently in their brains, and suddenly they want to start a family. The thing is that it's incredibly hard to deceive nature. Physically, the best time to have a child is between 20 and 35. From that point onwards, it can be very hard to do so. And just to sum up, we are encountering a new issue that could possibly put whole humanity in danger, but the issue is not easily noticeable. There are people who are aware of this threat, but there are too few of them. It would be wise to act in advance because it is more probable that our choices will lead to extinction in that way than getting annihilated by an asteroid strike. And I really hope that someone will take care of this problem. Maybe you have an idea how to deal with this. Share it with us in the comment section. From me, that's all for now. Best regards, David.